Hello, fellow Muppet fans. Welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch the Muppet Christmas Carol 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And today we have a first-time guest, but a long-time fellow Muppet fan friend. Guest, please introduce yourself.
I am Noah Ginex, and I have been listening to this podcast since the first episode.
Wow. Since the first episode was new, like the first week?
Yeah, since like the first episode of the Muppet movie.
Wow. Probably not a whole lot of people can say that.
Well, here's what I say to that, Noah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
welcome. And
thank you for listening.
It's really nice to finally get you on. So
yeah. Noah also drew a picture of us. Noah is a talented artist. He drew a picture of Anthony and myself. I don't know how much of it I should give away. We'll post it in the show notes of this, but sort of a reimagining of what it might look like when we record this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it was you interviewing several of the characters from Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes, several of the characters, perhaps not the main characters or the most famous characters in the movie.
No, they get a lot of airtime. They don't need any more.
Right.
And
they don't need any more publicity.
Well, and as long as we're talking about it, we should point out that we are tough pigs in this drawing. We are pigs. We are not.
Yes,
we are not humans.
Yes,
drew us as pigs.
So
that's great. We'll put that in the show notes.
There's pigs in this scene of the movie too, so it's relevant.
Oh yeah, it's very relevant. Yeah, and we're about to get into the minutes, but before we do that, another thing that Noah has brought us. Maybe do you want to just set this up?
I orchestrated Anthony's rap from the first episode of this season.
Listeners might remember that Anthony decided, because of the time period when the Muppet Christmas Carol came out, there should have been a rap song to accompany it. So Anthony wrote and performed a rap about more about the season of
it's
the
really
podcast.
More about the podcast than it is about Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, several references to us in it. And Noah just played for us sort of what did you just call it, an orchestration?
Yeah, I just sort of filled it out with clips from the movie.
Yeah, so we just listened to it. It's really great. We're going to just take a moment right now to pause and let all of you hear it. And don't just listen to it once, skip back and listen to it multiple times. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
And I am your other host, Anthony Strand, back again, talking about the Muppets with my co-host and friend. It's Ryan Rowe from Austin TX. If it doesn't feel like Christmas yet, it will next. Podcast present coming down from the shelf. I play Charles Dickens and Ryan plays himself. Michael Caine, 2-time Oscar winner, paid Bean Bunny to bring us a turkey dinner. No more sleeps until we start this gig. We're gonna throw a party just like Fozziwig. When love is gone, you'll find some more right here. Every single week a hit of Christmas cheer. 2 minutes at a time, right down to the wire, so throw another shovel full of coal on the fire. We'll have some great guests, we just can't go wrong. It's Muppet Christmas Carol, I'm moving right along.
Wow. Okay, so that was great. How many different sound clips do you think from the movie are in that?
A lot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, we don't need a precise answer, but that was quite a feat.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great work, and thank you for that gift.
And let me say that I am honored, because that's just some dumb garbage I wrote, and the fact that anybody even remembered it 5 minutes later is truly astonishing to me, let alone lovingly refashioned it into something new. So
it's gonna be a hit on SoundCloud or something.
Yeah, that's my SoundCloud.
Until Disney gives us a cease and desist.
Right.
I was either driving in my car when I heard it or building a puppet, and I had to stop what I was doing and go back to the beginning and just listen, because it may have been some dumb crap that you wrote, but it was gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it.
Yes, yes. Another thing we all appreciate is the movie The Muppet Christmas Carol. And today we're watching and talking about minutes 59 and 60, in which Christmas scat concludes and the Cratchit family comes together for Christmas dinner. So we pick up with Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit continuing and actually concluding Christmas scat. We talked about this some last week. Anthony and I both really love this song, the reprise of One More Sleep, and Robin singing the real words, Kermit just scatting along with these nonsense syllables. I also like the fact that they end together. So Kermit is just doing these nonsense syllables the whole time, but then at the end, they both do Keep Love Alive, and they harmonize on that, and it sounds really great.
Yeah.
Noah, did you have any thoughts specifically about the song?
Yes, I did. One of the reasons why I wanted to do these minutes specifically is because the song, to me, if you listen to it, that's just Gobo and Wembley scatting, or doing that, like Wembley making little noises while Gobo, walks through the cave and like sings one of his songs with Wembley doing little sound effects. Like that's at its core, that's really what that relationship was at that time,
Right. So, so we've talked about you and I have discussed how we have many common interests. We think the same things. I said that thing about Gobo and Wembley last week.
He did.
Yeah.
It's
like,
true.
right?
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
It's just so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes it that much more delightful and special.
I also have information about the shooting of that segment. I don't know if you want to go over that now.
Please,
well, actually, I had one more thing, which is that, and maybe we said this last week, I don't know, I can't keep up with this show. Brian Henson, in this thing he did for the movie on AFI's YouTube channel, and when he talked about this song, he said he liked Steve Whitmire scatting because it reminded him of the way his dad would I guess, scat and sing around the house. So that's a nice thought. The effect that is happening here in this scene, Noah, you told me when you said you were interested in coming on for this exact scene, that you had some stuff you wanted to say about the effect. So we actually haven't really gotten into how they did this yet. So I'll turn that over to you.
Well, I am in a couple different effects and crew groups on Facebook, and somebody posted in it a while ago. A guy named Paul Gentry or something posted this long thing about the technique they used, and I can either read through this whole thing. It's a big long paragraph about it. But basically, what they did was they. So it says in the UK at Shepperton Studios, I saw this big cylindrical drum rig that was motor driven, that had Earth painted on it and was used for Superman, 1978. I needed to put a cobblestone road on it and use it for Kermit the Frog walking down the road, blended to a previous motion control shot background and blue screen Muppeteers behind him operating him. Not perfect, but it worked pretty good, and it was the first shot ever of Kermit walking. And it was... he said he just found it sitting in a side yard at the effects shop at Shepperton Studios, and they, rigged it up, and basically it was Steve standing behind it with Mike Quinn standing in for Jerry Nelson, puppeteering Robin sitting on his shoulder. And Mike Quinn told me in a separate thing that Jerry asked him to do Robin because of the physicality of the shot, and that he wore because Mike Quinn is left-handed, he wore a special glove that would even out his knuckles to look like a right hand.
Oh, that's interesting.
Inside of Robin's head. So when they were going along and doing that, I have photos, I don't know where I got them from, but They're of Steve and Mike Quinn and Karen Prell puppeteering him, and I can send you those.
Okay, yeah, because the notes I have, and I don't know where all these came from, but I had that there was one puppeteer doing both of Kermit's feet and another puppeteer doing Kermit's right arm.
Yes, it looks like. Let me share my screen.
I'll just jump in here to note that Paul Gentry is credited as effects supervisor on the movie. So
okay.
He is definitely someone who worked on the film.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is an image with a completely blue background, and I see 4 puppeteers.
I don't know who that person is behind all of them, but this is Karen Prell operating Kermit's right hand and his little hat. And then Mike Quinn operating Robin and Steve standing there. And then there's Steve having Kermit bite someone like he does a lot. I've seen many pictures of Kermit biting people on the neck.
Great.
And then there is this other one of them actually walking.
Oh, that's a really good shot of the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like more round than it looks in the movie, I think.
Yeah, and more expansive, bigger, wider. Yeah.
They must have shot it in a way that is like, I don't know, flattens it out or something.
When you said that it had been used for the planet Earth in a Superman movie, I was thinking, how can that be? Like, this must have been just like an oil drum, like
right.
So not nearly the same size or shape as something that would be planet Earth. But yeah, in these photos, which we can put in the show notes also, that does look like something that could be used for the planet. And that's also so crazy to me that something that was used, and I don't know, we don't know where exactly or which Superman movie.
Superman,
is this when he was flying around the
1978.
Earth?
It must be the first one. It must be.
Time?
Where else would it be? Yeah.
Okay, then that's truly amazing to me that this model of the planet Earth was just like sitting in a room or outside somewhere at Shepperton Studios, and they changed it into the snowy ground for Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, he said he just had to tack some like cobblestone on it, but like it's so covered in snow.
Yeah, there's a lot of texturing
and Mike Quinn also said that that they used UV lights to help with the blue screen effect. So all the puppets were sprayed down with basically suntan lotion to block the UV light, just so they wouldn't key out.
Right. So yeah. Wow. So they wouldn't disappear.
Right.
So many technical considerations.
Yeah.
That go into a shot, and I wish I had timed it, but it can't be more than 20 seconds.
Right. And like, I remember Craig Shemin saying that this movie was really cheaply made. So it's amazing to me that they took that much time. And I guess it just came down to Paul Gentry happening to find that, that earth drum or whatever.
That was just what they needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess it was cheap to make relative to the previous 3 Muppet movies, or maybe owing to the fact that it was all filmed inside a studio and they never had to go on locations and do effects outside. So yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's all really cool. So
yeah, thanks for sharing
that.
Sure. Yeah. And I had wanted to do these minutes for that thing, but then when I watched the clip that you sent, I noticed that this clip is a perfect encapsulation of what this movie is. Like every bit of this movie is in this clip. Like you have the technical wizardry of that shot and the scatting and the relationship between Steve and Jerry, and we'll get to it later. So as we go along, I'll point them out, but they're every nuanced part of this movie, like the silliness and the heart and the Muppet chaos. It's all in these 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is a short film. You could just show this to people and say, "Here's
really
the
you
Christmas
could."
Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Everybody, the next time you watch this movie, just think about all that and all the work that went into that when you see those 20 seconds or whatever, however long that brief clip of Christmas scat is.
Yeah, let's get in the door. Like, we haven't even gotten inside yet.
Well, right. So what happens is Bob Cratchit sets down Tiny Tim on the ground. And by the way, I will probably be, as we always do, interchangeably referring to these characters by their quote unquote real names and their character names. Bob puts Tiny Tim on the ground, and there's this little thing. I never noticed how invested in all this the spirit is.
Oh, he loves it.
Of Christmas present.
Actually,
he's watching them very intently, and then he just makes his little aw sound as Bob helps Tim get up.
He just like chuckles as they walk up. Like as soon as the scat ends, he's just like, oh.
Right? Yeah. Like you say, he loves it. Tiny Tim is, in fact, using a crutch to walk. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we ever learned specifically what his ailment is, at least in this movie.
I actually have a lot of notes about that from the annotated Christmas Carol.
Okay, you want to get into that now?
Should I open the old curiosity shop right now?
Sure, might as well.
Okay.
While you're opening it, Anthony, this book, this will air after Christmas, right?
Yes.
Way after Christmas.
Yeah.
This point, yeah.
I am getting my brother this book for Christmas based on how fantastic it seems. Just because I grew up the youngest of three, and both of my older brothers did. Well, we could talk about it later in the how the Christmas Carol-esque part of this, but they both did this play 3 times each. So just growing up, I basically memorized the entire, shortened children version of this play. So it's been, anyway. We'll talk about that later.
So here's what Michael Patrick Hearn says in the annotated Christmas Carol. But what exactly was Tiny Tim's disease? Colonel Charles Callahan, chief of the Department of Pediatrics and Pediatric Pulmonology at Tripler Army Medical Center in Honolulu, told Roxanne Nelson in The Case of Tiny Tim, the Washington Post, that the boy possibly suffered from Pott's disease, also called tuberculosis spondylitis, or spinal tuberculosis, which commonly strikes children under 10 years old. Tuberculosis infected half the population in 19th century England and was then the chief cause of death in the Western world. While primarily a respiratory illness, Pott's disease can also spread to other parts of the body, such as the bones and joints. And that's why they think that's what he had. Because he's limping and he's coughing, basically. And it was very common.
Right, yeah, a lot of coughing.
At that time.
Jerry's performance, just beautifully encapsulates both of those things.
Well, I was actually thinking while watching it now, 2 minutes, the limping is not showy at all. It really feels like he's walking with a crutch. He's just kind of limping along,
I have
lifting one shoulder.
A note about that.
And it's great. It's really impressive.
Right. Yeah, that is puppetry.
So while we're at the door,
we're still at the door.
I noticed that he comes in and he closes the door, but the door latch doesn't fully close until Belinda and Bettina and Peter slam into him, and then the latch fully closes. Yeah, it's just this beautiful little bit of chaos that and that's when he's finally inside, when he's surrounded by his family. And
that's probably what happens every night when he gets home from work.
Absolutely.
They never have to fix that door mechanism.
No.
There is this little tiny moment before that, though, when they're going in and Gonzo runs up behind Kermit and first says his back up against the door, and then he kind of flips himself inside sideways. Uh-huh. He's like a spy. Charles Dickens is a spy sneaking his way into his own story.
Well, it's pretty funny that, I guess it makes sense that Gonzo is bound by the rules of reality because he's not a spirit. He's not accompanying a spirit. But it is funny to me that later in this same scene, we're going to see Scrooge walk right through that door. But Gonzo has to sneak in while it's
that's
open,
interesting.
Because neither of them are really there, right?
Right.
And we'll get to it later, but Rizzo falls down the chimney and lands on the goose. So he is bound by physicality of he's bound by the environment, just like Gonzo is. So maybe they are.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Well, so Anthony, were you suggesting that because the Ghost of Christmas Present has not actually entered the house, that's why Charles Dickens and Rizzo can't enter the house?
Well, no, because Scrooge walks in. We don't see the ghost enter the house here. Scrooge just strolls
right.
in.
But I thought you were suggesting that Scrooge is more of an immediate companion to the ghost.
He is, yeah, because that's who the ghost came for. Whereas Gonzo and Rizzo just kind of are tagging along, but like they also exist outside of time, right? Like they go into the past, the present, and the future. They don't go to the future.
And like Scrooge hasn't like ventured that far away from the ghost. Like his true. Bluetooth would still work.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But in the previous scene, the ghost took Scrooge to Fred's house, and when they got there, Gonzo and Rizzo were seemingly already there, or they just kind of appeared there.
Yeah.
Gonzo and Rizzo didn't have to go to any effort to get inside Nephew Scrooge's parlor or whatever that was.
I guess it's the same thing as with the gate earlier, right? Where only when it's funny. I mean, in this case, Gonzo. I don't know if Gonzo sneaking in is really funny, but it's neat. It's like a cute visual.
It's a little bit funny.
Yeah.
To quote the great Frank Oz, Davy, it's a movie.
That's the real answer. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
So.
Right.
Nothing. This podcast is over. Wrap it up.
Okay.
We're done. That's it. This is the last series finale.
Yeah. Why are we talking about this so much? Yes. Kermit goes in. Belinda and Bettina, as we said, are so excited. It's like they haven't seen him in years. They run up and they trample their brother Peter on the way to go shove their daddy up against the door.
They're knocking over all kinds of frogs. That's all they do.
Yeah. Right.
David Rudman in a great performance as Peter Cratchit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Kermit says Merry Christmas to the girls and Peter, as Peter is sort of like running up and kind of like hopping and trying to squeeze in anywhere he can to say hi to his daddy also.
And I just noticed for the first time in watching this clip that it's got to be Dave doing both pigs at the same time, because Steve is being... And like it looks sort of like the Snoths a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like how they sort of like... So in that way that one person is clearly puppeteering both, and it would reduce the number of, people underneath.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, you think it looks more like that than like they had another puppeteer with Steve's character. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So then Emily Cratchit, Miss Piggy, comes up, tells the kids to go set the table. All of them stampede back off that direction.
Mrs. Piggy.
Oh.
Mrs. Piggy in this one. Right.
Come on.
Kermit says Merry Christmas to her. She says Merry Christmas. And then she gives him a big, tight, affectionate hug. Now, I had always thought that she was saying Merry Christmas Cratchy, like as a nod to calling him Kermie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
Okay, that's what you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the more I watched this clip, the more I convinced myself that she was just saying Cratchit. But
no, it's definitely Cratchy.
It's Cratchy.
Yeah, it's Cratchy in the subtitles and everything. Like,
good.
Not that subtitles are always
49 seconds.
That's
like
true.
Into this clip.
Chugga.
She squeaks somehow.
Right. So as she's hugging him, she sort of makes this, like, she squeezes him extra tight, and then there's this little sound like a squeak toy.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Cratchit. Emmy.
Yeah.
I assume this is meant to be Piggy goosing Kermit.
Maybe. I'm just wondering from what orifice is that noise coming?
Oh no!
Yeah, what is making the squeak happen? I don't know. Kermit has a squeaker
and
somewhere
Kermit
inside him.
Checks the camera at that point. Like he looks at the camera for just like a microsecond.
He does a little bit of a take. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, this is his, sheesh. Can you believe this pig?
I think in general, the exasperated, like the kind of embarrassed way that he goes, Emmy, after she hugs him. It's like, that's the thing that feels that feels like a natural progression to me. Even though this is a fictional movie, they're not playing themselves.
Right.
There's something very natural to me about, they got married in Muppets Take Manhattan. They appear to be married in Muppet Family Christmas. We talked about that on the podcast,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Or a couple, yeah.
And in this one, they're a longtime married couple with 4 kids who have settled into being like a family of 6. And that's how she greets him when he comes home. And he's just kind of like, okay, all right. That's what we do.
Here we go. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And there's definitely a certain percentage of the audience that really wanted to see that,
Right.
or even expected to see it, probably.
It's still the same relationship
Yeah.
as Kermit and Piggy, just within the confines of, because nothing is ever really made of Emily Cratchit as her own character, right?
No,
not
not at all.
Not really. I mean,
in the book or anything.
She gets indignant about Cratchit toasting Scrooge. Like that's I was going to save that for next time, but that does happen.
Okay.
Okay, so showing some personality of her own.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to map Piggy's character over that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tempting to say like this is kind of an indignity to Piggy to be playing this character, but it also was probably the most obvious. Once they decided not to cast familiar Muppets as the 3 spirits, it was probably the most obvious to just like, oh, of course, Piggy's going to be Kermit's wife.
And they dissolved into giggles, probably like thinking, and then we can make these new pig puppets to be.
Yeah.
And then once Dave and Steve got a hold of them, they're just like, let's just, make fun of Frank as much as we can.
Yeah, and probably it actually does pay off pretty much.
Yeah.
So Rizzo is inside the house. He's trying to cool off his feet from when he burned them by landing on the flaming hot goose. He explains this to Gonzo. Gonzo says, "You have all the fun." And now it's Gonzo's turn to react as an obliviously silly comedy guy, the way Rizzo has been doing up to this point in the movie.
But like right after he says, "You have all the fun," these 2 puffs of steam shoot out of Rizzo's belly and the bottom of his foot. Like it just like, I'd never noticed.
I love that because at first it seems like, as far as I could see, the steam was coming from under the frame. Like Rizzo is blowing on his feet. We can't actually see his feet at first, but we can see that there's steam rising up from below the frame. So they could be doing that using any kind of effect. But then, he pulls his feet. I think he pulls his feet into the frame, and we actually see puffs of smoke emanating from inside his feet.
It's almost to like the exclamation point on the sentence. Like, "You have all the fun."
Right. It's the perfect punctuation to that little joke.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but also I wanted to say about "You have all the fun." We've talked about whether or not Gonzo is basically playing himself here, despite being named Charles Dickens. And this is evidence that he is. Like, he's just kind of like, you got to do a weird stunt? No, that's me. I'm the stunt guy,
Right. He's
right.
still the guy who likes flying over London dangling from the Ghost of Christmas Past, and he's the guy who wishes he had gotten to fall down a chimney and land on a flaming hot goose.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I think they're all sort of just doing. It's the Muppets doing this story. Like their dedication to their roles goes up and down depending on who you're looking at. But
right.
Like they're all just putting these characters on.
Yeah, and when there needs to be a joke, they slip back more toward their traditional character, their Muppet characters. And speaking of the goose, Tiny Tim is very excited about the Christmas dinner.
Yes.
He's getting all worked up about the dinner and the goose, and he starts coughing, and Piggy has to come over and tell him that he's gotten too excited and he should go over and sit in his chair and rest, which is, it's sad that Tiny Tim is sick. It's also a little bit sad that Miss Piggy, who has thus far been very funny in this sequence, now has to just be serious and somber and deliver this.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, Piggy has depth that we almost never see anymore. And like, there's the episode of the Muppet Show where the rats are taking advantage of Bo, and she has to go and tell Beauregard, like in the storeroom or whatever, she's like, they don't care about you. They're using you. Like, and it's Piggy of all who like goes in and, you know, comforts him.
I was going to say that's the Joan Baez episode if people want to go watch it.
Oh, the Joan Baez
Season
episode.
5.
There you go. And I love that scene so much because she never gets to be anything, at least, especially nowadays, she never gets to be anything more than the one note Piggy. And, you know, she's had that in her the whole time.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, she does have fewer layers now than she did at her peak. So, yeah. No, and this is important, obviously. And they're moving into the part where Tiny Tim is a figure of sympathy. But it is kind of like, oh, well, Piggy was just being funny a minute ago, and now she's not funny anymore.
Right.
And I was going to say, like, the way that Jerry's hand fits inside of Robin, like, really lends itself to his condition, like in that moment, because like he's like, he does not look right, you know, as he's moving toward the table, like he's like Jerry's hand is too big to fit inside of Robin correctly.
Well, Robin
is
a very little guy.
Yeah, and so it really helps sell the illness, I think, you know, in that moment. Also, Jerry's just brilliant.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, he really is. Yeah, so he goes to sit in his chair. Emily asks...
Well, I was just going to say, as long as we're talking about it, I looked it up on TV Tropes. And on TV Tropes, the fact that no one ever coughs in a movie unless they're going to die is called the incurable cough of death.
Okay. Well, I was thinking earlier, when it takes place, or when that happens in a period piece, for whatever reason, I usually think tuberculosis.
Sure.
I don't know where I got that idea, but yeah.
But it's just one of those things where coughing is very common in real life. People cough all the time.
I coughed earlier today.
Right. I coughed earlier in this podcast recording and had to mute my microphone. But
oh no, Anthony, do you have tuberculosis?
Do you have tuberculosis? Maybe do you have one tuberculosis?
Maybe that's not a good joke. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, there it is. No, but that's my point though. Is like in movies, the only reason anyone ever coughs is like because it's code for this person is dying, and so it makes us feel in real life like coughing is worse than what it is. You know? So
there are two movies that come to mind immediately to me. One is Moulin Rouge.
Sure, yeah.
Where Nicole Kidman. Oh, well, maybe spoilers for movies that are at least 20 years old. And the other one is Batman and Robin, where Alfred, I believe, is coughing toward the beginning of the movie, and Batman is like, what's going on there? And then later Batman tells Robin Alfred is dying.
Yeah, and then they upload Alfred's consciousness into the Bat computer. That happens.
Do they do that? I don't remember.
100. Why would I make that up? Why would I make up fake things about Batman and Robin?
Fair enough.
I've seen that movie once, I think.
You wait, Noah. Okay, listeners may or may not remember that you did approximately a 90-part series casting the Muppets as specifically Batman characters.
A series of cartoons.
A series of drawings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you only saw Batman and Robin once in 25 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Because
it's bad. I mean, it's a terrible movie.
It's terrible. Yeah. Yes.
Right. But I do have a question for you though.
Yes.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Okay, so now you're making me think like, oh yeah, maybe that movie was actually pretty good.
Well, that's the thing is because I watched it with my nephew not that long ago, a couple of years ago, and we did a double feature of The Dark Knight and Batman and Robin. He hadn't seen either of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and well, the thing is that like the funny good bad material in Batman and Robin accounts for like maybe 15 minutes of it, you know, and it's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if it was 90 minutes and had, the ice skating henchmen and, you know, the Poison Ivy buys Batman at an auction. I mean, there's enough stuff in it that if it was a lot shorter, it would be fun. But it's just so long that it stops being, even ironically fun after a while. You know?
That's probably right. Yeah. That sounds accurate.
Arnold and George Clooney were never on set at the same time.
That makes sense.
Huh.
Yeah.
Like, they never shot together at all.
Wow.
Because they're both wearing suits. You can
Wasn't-
use doubles and yeah.
Right.
'Cause they do have
Was
se-
John Glover in that movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the
As
guy
something?
with Poison Ivy at the very beginning
Yeah.
before she changed.
'Cause-
He's basically
Because he's the Riddler, right?
no.
I mean, in an animated series.
Was he?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, yeah. But John Glover is kind of like the Christopher Walken in Batman Returns of Batman and Robin, kind of. That's maybe the closest analogy.
Right? Yeah. Well, none of those people, unfortunately, are in the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Unfortunately.
But I tell you who is, Miss Piggy.
Uma Thurman
or
is
Mrs.
in.
Piggy.
yeah.
Uma Thurman is in. What's it called? The Letters to Santa. I'm sorry. Stop.
Letters
Go.
to Santa. She plays Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The airline agent. Emily Cratchit, though, who asks her husband, Bob Cratchit, how was he in church? Referring, of course, to Tiny Tim. Bob says, as good as gold and better. He told me that he hoped the people saw him in church because it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. Now, a lot of the lines in this movie that I assumed were from the book were not actually from the book, but this one has to be because I've heard this in other adaptations and it sounds too Dickensy not to.
Yes, it is almost exactly out of the book. The only difference is
Okay.
And so as good as gold, said Bob, and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful, sitting by himself so much, and thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me coming home that he hoped the people saw him in the church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. It's probably fine that they left out because he was a cripple. I mean, I guess it's Dickens like telling us that because we can't see it for ourselves, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know.
So in the original text, does Bob Cratchit hiccup when he says, who made lame beggars walk? Because Steve, he said something happens to his voice at that moment, you know.
I figured it was just his voice is breaking a little bit.
Yeah,
because
that's
getting
what
emotional
I think it
thinking
is.
about
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So, actually, I have a kind of a weird note about this. So,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So in 2011, to promote the Muppets, the 2011 movie The Muppets, in 2011 to promote the movie The Muppets that came out that same year, Kermit did like a media blitz at that time, and for whatever reason, one of the interviews Kermit did was on Focus on the Family's Plugged In Magazine podcast.
Really?
Yes, that is true. You can look on Muppet Wiki, look up "Focus on the Family" on Muppet Wiki. Yes, like the James Dobson
Jameson's thing.
Corporation. Yeah, and it's like basically just like Kermit doing some like light podcast interview about his career. You know, I mean, there's a lot of like, what are your favorite memories? And he's like, well, I've been working 55 years. You know, I mean, it's Kermit interview stuff.
Right.
But at one point in that interview, the interviewer, Bob Smithhauser, brings up this scene and says, like, well, you're talking about Jesus there, aren't you? And Kermit, which of course they are.
Yes, yeah, it is probably, I mean, this whole scene has the most, the most blatant references to the religious celebration of Christmas in this movie, I think.
I think that's right. But Kermit sidesteps it very well. He says, well, we were. And you know what's really interesting about that film? Even though we have lots of bears and pigs and chickens and rats in that film, the actual script is pretty much straight out of Charles Dickens' novel. We didn't change a lot of the dialogue, so it's a pretty faithful telling of that story. And then later on in that interview, when the guy asks Bob Smithhauser asks him about like media has changed dramatically since you got your start, but kids still need healthy entertainment. Kermit, by which I mean Steve, makes a point to say like, well, I did the Ellen DeGeneres show recently, and I was happy to work with her because I know one of the things she tries to do, which I've always tried to do, is to be funny without being mean to people. So that definitely feels like Steve making a point on the Focused on the Family podcast.
Yeah,
like,
that seems very
beautiful.
deliberate.
You know who's wholesome? Ellen. You know, which meant something different then than it does now.
It did. Yes, we didn't know all the things we know about Ellen that we know now. But
that is Steve, like just working on his feet and beautifully like improvising around a potentially tough situation. And
well,
that's just
it's
great.
a really perfect answer, both of those, because it's still, it's a good answer. They're good answers to the interviewer's questions, and they're very nice and wholesome.
And it's even more surprising to think about the fact that he did that at that time when there was some rumblings within the Muppets, the turbulence of having Steve around at that point was
which we know now. Right,
so
what was happening
to have him defend, just work that well through that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So that's kind of a side note, but I think of that interview every time I see this scene.
Yeah, that is very interesting. As they're having this exchange, Tiny Tim is finding it a little challenging to actually sit in his chair. He hangs his hat on the back of it. He walks around the chair using his crutch. He braces himself on the table. He sits down in the chair. Then he props the crutch up against the table. And as we were alluding to earlier, this is all just like such convincing puppetry on the part of Jerry Nelson, using this little tiny frog puppet that, really just barely covers his hand. And probably doesn't have legs. I assume this version of Robin in this shot does not actually have legs at all.
Maybe not. I mean, they probably wouldn't add that much weight to it, so they probably would have them on there just in case the shot goes, slightly below. But they certainly aren't articulated
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't assume that he does. So,
but it must have been impressive because I don't have any notes about it. So I didn't even clock it at all. That
it's just that convincing. You don't even think about
exactly.
It. Yeah. So great work by Jerry Nelson. I don't know if maybe there was another puppeteer assisting, but just great puppetry. And speaking of Jerry Nelson, there's another Jerry Nelson character outside the house, still peeking in the window with Scrooge. That is the Ghost of Christmas Present, of course. Scrooge is watching all this. He just says, "A remarkable child," and the spirit doesn't say anything. He just nods his head and blinks very slowly, which is it's just so expressive. I love that puppet.
Yeah, it's really subtle and effective. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great caricature of Kirk Thatcher too.
Yeah,
right. Apparently that was intentional.
Yep.
Gonzo says, "And with that, the Cratchits came to what was surely the happiest single moment in all the livelong year." And here's where we see the entire family gathered around the table for dinner.
Now, the Cratchits came to what was surely the happiest single moment in all the livelong year. None of that is in the book. That's all Jerry Jewell.
Okay, that I kind of figured wasn't.
Yeah. That's a Jewel one. But I think that's one of those ones that, watching this movie casually, you just assume it's from the book.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, and it sets things up really nicely. Yeah. Do you think they all always sit at the same place at the table when they have dinner together as a family?
I don't know.
We got Bob.
That's how I grew up.
Table. That's how I grew up too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do at my house now.
Possibly with the seats chosen by my parents to minimize arguments among siblings. Not 100% sure, but wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, they each have their place. I just found it interesting that Belinda and Bettina are not sitting next to each other. One of them is kind of on the side, and one of them is at the end of the table.
It's probably because if you put them together, they will just.
I think, they can't sit directly next to each other.
Yeah.
So Scrooge remarks that it's such a meager feast, and the spirit says, but it's very much appreciated.
And in that moment, Jerry's was notorious for not enunciating every syllable.
Oh, the lip
all
sync
the time.
Of the puppet not
exactly
catching every single syllable of the speech.
I noticed in that moment he does it's really, but very much appreciate. It's really just perfect.
So you're saying he hits every single syllable of that.
Exactly.
Sentence. Okay.
I watched Steve Whitmire I interviewed him at Gen Con one time, and I watched him become every other Muppet performer. like with his performance. Just he said, like Richard was crazy, so like he would be kind of like all manic like this and
all over the place.
Jim sort of moved around like this, and like Frank was analytical and so like sharp, but and Jerry was just cool, man. So he didn't care, and he just like and like it was crazy to watch all of the other guys come out of his hand because he had to double for them so much, in his early days.
Their performances when he had to double their characters. Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah. So it just moving his hands and fingers in different ways to represent all those other guys. Yeah, like their the personality through their puppetry style. And Jerry's is,
Well, I know John Tartaglia has talked about that. How it's very important for him as Gobo to drop syllables, so it looks like
right.
Gobo.
Yeah, which is interesting, especially if that's not his normal style.
Yeah,
to have to kind of train himself to do that when he's playing the character.
Yeah. And Mike Quinn did the same thing when he was in on the scatting on the barrel.
Oh yeah,
like it just you make the puppet look as much like the original performer as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Which, like, I was thinking about that. This is for the next movie, but that might be why Fozzie sounds like this so much, because, like, Kevin, being the on-set puppeteer for him, doing an impression of Frank Oz, like, fell into that caricature of it, and then Frank had to then loop it that way, when they were in post-production, so it would look thought. Right, anyway, that's
like kind of repeating the same puppetry
mannerisms and like emotion and like Mr. Bimbo, like it like
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here just like opening and closing my hand in different patterns and different speeds, just thinking about all this. Wow. Yeah, man, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Scrooge has a realization at this point. He says, I pay Bob such a small amount. And then out of nowhere, Bob Cratchit suddenly says, Mr. Scrooge. And Scrooge is like, oh, what? Is this guy talking to me?
Yes, but he's like, you see me? He's like, hello, Bob, it's me. Yes. Mr.
Right, yeah, he gets up and tries to walk into the house. He passes right through the solid door, of course, because he's not really there.
Yeah.
And he arrives just in time to hear Bob Cratchit say that he wants to lift a glass to his employer, Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast. And then we cut to Tiny Tim and Emily Cratchit at the other end of the table. And exactly there is where this clip ends.
And I assume
we don't get to
that everyone at that table is super cool with toasting Mr. Scrooge, and that's what's going to happen next.
I guess, yeah. We can't tell by the looks on their faces, or they're all just going to be like, "Yeah, sounds great, Dad."
The founder of the feast, indeed.
And Piggy's going to be like, "Yeah, I love that guy."
Yep.
The clip that you sent me ends as he's saying the founder of the feast. It does not. I don't even know if he says the T at the end of that word.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the founder of the feces.
Maybe I hope it's not the founder of the feces
thing that we're talking about.
Like if he was wandering around and he, walked through something.
I don't know how you watched the clip, but I have noticed that depending on which video player I use, sometimes clips end sooner than they are actually over. So.
I watched it in Google Drive, and then I downloaded it and I watched it in QuickTime.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but
yeah,
interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know that he does finish that word.
Yes, it is a feast, and then also
great.
Tiny Tim and Emily are sitting at the other side of the table. So, just in case you were wondering,
yeah, I was really worried that they had gotten up and left.
Right. You never know.
They could tell what was coming, and they didn't want to hear about Scrooge.
Yeah, they ran to the other room. If they have another room, I don't know. So that's all I have actually for these 2 minutes. Anything else on these 2 minutes from either of you? Noah, I will start with you.
I don't think I have anything else. I didn't write anything down, anything else down. I went through with a fine-tooth comb this morning and was taking notes. So Nope.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that like this, as I said before, this clip encapsulates every wonderful thing about this movie, like the chaos and then the like caring and also silly moment between Gonzo and Rizzo, and then the heartfelt part, between Kermit and Piggy, and like just everything that you could boil this movie down to just these 2 minutes and people would, understand.
Yeah, you're right. It's all there. Yeah, including singing. Like there's even a little bit of a song in this clip.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a good one. And yeah, we do try to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. And sometimes you end up with something like, let's talk for 5 minutes about handsome cabs. And sometimes you just don't have anything like that. So
yeah.
But this was a good one. Anthony, anything about these 2 minutes?
I have a little bit more old curiosity shop, if that's okay.
Okay, yes, please.
So this is, again, stuff that I read in the annotated Christmas Carol. Tiny Tim is based on Dickens' brother Alfred, who died as a child.
Oh.
And in fact, in the original manuscript, his name was Little Fred, after Dickens' brother. And then he changed it to Tiny Tim.
But then he named another character Fred.
Named the nephew Fred after his late brother. But also, Dickens, he talks about how Dickens said that anyone who had no sympathy for children was, quote, quite an unsafe monstrosity among men. That this was very important to him, and that's why he wrote so much about, Oliver Twist, and he spent a lot, Little Nell, he spent a lot of time on, like, the suffering of children and how we can help them. But also, I just thought this was kind of funny. The novelist Henry James, the late 19th century novelist Henry James, who wrote, like, Portrait of a Lady, Daisy Miller, he hated all of the sick kids in Dickens books. This was like a thing he talked about. And the quote says...
What a monster.
Yeah, and the quote says, "The troop of hunchbacks, imbeciles, and precocious children who have carried on the sentimental business in all Mr. Dickens' novels." And he referred to Tiny Tim specifically as, quote, "a little monster, deformed, unhealthy, unnatural."
Oh, wow.
And it's like, bro, like, what is...
Yeah.
How can you read A Christmas Carol and be like, Tiny Tim, not worth it? Like...
Yeah,
That's your
Yeah,
takeaway.
like, it's horrifying. Like, I've never read a Henry James book, but I'm definitely never going to.
What's shocking about it is he doesn't even just generally target Dickens for using a character like that for sympathy or whatever, or for being too maudlin. He actually is attacking the character of Tiny Tim and calling him deformed.
Just
and,
a sweet little buddy.
Yeah, right.
So, anyways, that was some interesting notes I got on this one.
Wow. That is weird. Well, I do have an update in the extremely exciting ongoing saga of me watching other movies of A Christmas Carol, movies and TV specials. So just today, actually, I rewatched Mickey's Christmas Carol, the Disney short from 1983. Hadn't seen it in a while, but it was really amazing how much of it I remembered, and like when something would happen, I would anticipate exactly what the next thing was going to be. That happens a lot when you watch something that you watched frequently as a kid. There's just a lot of funny little cartoony bits, and it tells the story really concisely. I think that's the version. That must have been the version that I saw first before this one, even.
Sure, yeah, must have been. Came out 9 years earlier. Much earlier in your own childhood is what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a TV special that had that short with a bunch of other like winter themed or Christmas themed Disney cartoons.
I saw it recently, and I was amazed at how short it was. Because when I saw it as a kid,
so
it was
fast.
Feels like a movie when you're a kid.
It was, it feels like a movie when you're a kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 20. It's less than 30 minutes.
It's like 25 minutes,
Yeah.
almost exactly.
Yeah.
I probably mentioned this on the podcast before, but Miles, my son Miles, who's 4.5, is obsessed with that thing. He loves it.
Yeah.
I bet this Christmas I've seen it 3 or 4 times in December, and we'll like watch some other Christmas special, and he'll be like, "What about Mickey's Christmas Carol?" And it's just like, all right, buddy, we can.
Well, what about it?
Yeah. He just loves it.
Yeah.
He loves when Ebenezer Scrooge throws in 1 coin and grabs 4 coins when the coins all pop out.
Right? Yeah. You were saying off mic earlier, Anthony. That might be the only adaptation where Scrooge actually steals money from somebody.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, not just like swindles them out of money in business. He's like just a thief. He like steals from the charity in that, you know.
Stealing
Doesn't
some coins.
Goofy doesn't Marley fall down the stairs?
Sure does.
Yes. So
sure does.
Goofy as Marley is such an interesting casting choice because he's very funny in it because he's goofy, but you don't buy that Goofy would be robbing from widows and taking money from the poor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of strange, but then they make the most of it with Goofy like tripping over his chains, and then when he leaves, I think Scrooge says something like, "Oh, Marley, watch the first step," and then you just hear crash, tumble, crash, 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 and then you hear the trademark Goofy Yahoo hooey sound. As he,
I recorded
that thing.
I recorded an audio like a version, basically the script that I had from my brothers doing it in school. I recorded as an audio drama with my cousins, and I like had Marley fall in much the same way, probably based on that movie.
Inspired.
Like,
yeah,
it was like, watch out for that, and then I just had a whole bunch of sound effects. It's like chair, you know.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, it is so concise, and I think it really planted in my head the idea of what are the essential components of A Christmas Carol, because it hits all the important stuff in the past, present, and future. The only thing that I noticed wasn't there was Nephew Fred's party,
right?
But even that, the story works without it.
Well, and they still get Donald in at the beginning and end. So it feels
Donald
like
as Nephew Fred.
It feels like Fred is there, you know.
Yeah, it works really well. The other one that I watched in the past couple days, Scrooged, the 1988 Bill Murray movie, which is so weird. It takes place in present day, and he plays this TV executive who's just really mean to everyone. This is one of the meanest Scrooge figures that I've seen in one of these things. Yep. It takes place on the night of a live TV broadcast, which for some reason they refer to the story as Scrooge by Charles Dickens. They never call it A Christmas Carol in this thing, and I don't know why. But
I wonder if there was some legal issue with.
I mean, it was.
Oh, maybe because of the movie from the 70s? Wait, no, but that one was called Scrooge.
The Albert Finney is called Scrooge. And also, like, it's a public domain story. It certainly was in 1988.
Right.
You know,
that's just always my guess. That
maybe
it's a
they just thought
issue.
that it would be shorthand. Like, everyone knows what you're talking about when you say Scrooge. Yeah.
That movie is interesting in that there's a scene that features a Ghostbuster and a Ghostbuster, because Buster Poindexter plays the Ghost of Christmas
It's
Past.
true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That movie is also interesting in that they hired director Richard Donner, a very talented man who didn't understand comedy and forgot to make one.
Well, yeah, it's just so it's very strange, and I wouldn't say that there's no comedy.
Right. It's just I just don't think it's very funny, personally. Like,
the tone is just kind of never really finds the tone. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like everybody is obnoxious. Like the ghosts are obnoxious to Scrooge. Buster Poindexter is just yelling at him, and the Ghost of Christmas Present is played by Carol Kane as this sort of like fairy princess, but she keeps like hitting him and throwing toasters at him and stuff. And
she bit him and hurt him, like in real life.
Is that right?
While they were shooting that,
yeah. She bites his nose or his lip or something at one point.
His lip, yeah. She tore his lip.
Yeah, yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, and like the whole thing is just, it's a little too bleak. I just like, because especially like in high school, I was obsessed with Bill Murray. I mean, that like, I'm not as much of a Bill Murray guy now as I was in 1999 or whatever. But back then, Ghostbusters, Stripes, even like Groundhog Day, Rushmore. I mean, even the newer stuff then, I was like all in. And I watched Scrooge, and I was just like, oh.
Well, and I think the other thing is that Bill Murray as an actor had not arrived at the point maybe where we buy the transformation of the Scrooge character at all at the end of this
Right,
movie.
yeah.
Or maybe it's a failure of the script or the director. I don't know. But like, he just seems like still a jerk at the end, but he's a jerk who has realized that if he's nice to other people, then the people who witness him being nice to those people will assume that he's a nice guy. Like, he still seems selfish for doing nice things.
Right. Well, I mean, Groundhog Day is not dissimilar, like in premise.
That's the thing. It's a better version.
It's a much better version, and Harold Ramis is a better comedy director. You know.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's it. So, yep, Scrooged, another Christmas Carol adaptation. I guess I'll just keep on watching these things until I get sick of Christmas carols.
Impossible.
Well,
I
love
I love the Jim Carrey version. Like, I know nobody else does.
Ryan hasn't watched it yet. He's been putting it off. I hate it. I think it's awful. But I respect
Really?
it. I think it's dreadful. Tiny Tim looks like a little Gary Oldman head. It's awful. It's a nightmare. I hate it.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, Jim Carrey just like loves to eat scenery so much that he just like completely like, you know, bends himself over in that role and is just like, no more bread. You know, like it just is. It's so. Yeah.
Sure. No,
I know so many people who hate it for so many different reasons.
I respect it. I mean, I respect your opinion because I think highly of you.
It's certainly true that everyone has a different threshold of Jim Carrey tolerance.
Yes.
I think mine is maybe about average, maybe a little higher than average, but I don't know. I'll report back to you after I've watched it.
Also, we forgot to mention that Scrooged features Batman and Robin's John Glover.
Oh, yes, it does. As a smarmy network guy who I think is trying to take over Bill Murray's job or get him fired or something.
Wow.
So, with that, we can move on to our traditional episode closing questions for the guest. So, Noah, do you remember the first question? Do you remember the first time you saw this movie, and what is your history with it?
I saw this movie in the theater at the Skokie Theater when it came out in 1992. And I remember going. It was a little teeny theater, and we went, and I loved it. It was like I had already been prepped for Steve being Kermit because
you were a relatively young child in 1992.
I was 12.
Okay.
I was 12. So my mom told me that Jim died, like that, you know, on the drive home from school the day it happened. Mm-hmm. And so I had already, you know, 2+ years I knew about Richard. And
you knew about Richard already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did.
Because when I was 4, somebody for Christmas gave me the Christopher Finch book of Muppets and Men.
Oh, awesome.
And so I was that kid at like 5, like, you know.
Wow. And
so I knew all the guys, you know, just by name and whatever. And so I was prepared for, you know, Kermit being different, and I didn't know that much about who was going to be what role in the movie, but because my brothers had already done the show, and at that point I probably had been in it like several times between the three of us, I knew that story backwards and forwards. We watched the Alistair Sim movie all the time, so I just loved it. I ate it up. It's Jerry Juhl's writing. Like Jerry Juhl is the soul of the Muppets.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
So yeah, that's my answer.
Good.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out, and I loved it.
All right, and then where does it go in your ranking of all the Muppet movies?
My ranking of the Muppet movies falls exactly in the order in which they came out, save for the last two.
Okay.
They're flipped.
Oh, you flipped the last two in your ranking?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say it goes Muppets Most Wanted, and then Mr. Willoughby's Christmas Tree, and then Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, and then the weird Michael Jackson Sesame Street Christmas, and then the Jason Segel movie.
Okay.
That rules.
But not to push too much, but that does mean that you think Muppets from Space is better than Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh. Huh. I'm conflicted.
Okay.
Because that is the movie that made Jerry Jewell quit the Muppets. So yeah, maybe it might have to, I don't know. I might still say, because that movie had Frank Oz, at least in cameos.
It can be your tentative ranking. It doesn't have to be carved in stone.
That's my tentative ranking, is that
to be
Muppets from Space is still
verified later.
Is still. I've only seen Muppets Most Wanted maybe twice.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because I have differing opinions from a lot of people about that period of the Muppets.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So then the next question is, do you watch this every year around the holidays?
I don't, because I don't really need to, because it's already in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just have it, I can close my eyes and watch it.
Sure.
And also, if there's a big part of it is that the rest of my family, like my wife and daughter, don't really watch it. They don't, my parents still own a copy of it, and I think they probably watch it every year. And all my friends a lot of my friends always say, "Oh, we should, you should come over and watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, and then you can tell us about it." But that never happens. So I watch clips of it when I need to know something.
Yeah.
Or
it's always there.
It's always there.
Yeah.
And it's in my head. So
I don't think anyone has ever said to me, "You can come over and watch a Muppet movie and tell me about it," because they know that if they did, that would be a big mistake. They know.
I have had people invite me over to do like running commentary at them while they're watching.
Wow.
Yeah. Multiple Muppet Wizard of Oz that happened. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Those are nipples. I don't want to. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, then, we can wrap things up for this week. Everyone, listeners, please make sure you check out toughpigs.com. Everywhere on the internet. We don't know what's happening with social media as we record this. Will there still be a Twitter? Will anybody want to be on Twitter? We have no idea. Will Hive Social ever come back up? As of this recording, we have no idea. It's just kind of in limbo right now. Nobody knows anything. But just look for us online. We're there. Our thanks to Morgan Davy for our logo. You can also support us on Patreon if you're so inclined, and you should definitely look at our TeePublic store for a ton of cool t-shirt designs, and you can also get those designs on stickers and mugs and I think tote bags and all kinds of stuff. There's some great ones. There's some newish ones. Manhattan Melodies, that seems to be a popular design at the moment. So yeah, go check that out. You can email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com to let us know what you think of these minutes and this movie. As of this recording, I am on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. I'm also on Hive Social at @MeRyanRowe. I'm on Letterboxd at MoviesAreNeat. Anthony is on Letterboxd at ZeppoMarxist. You can follow both of us there to get our opinions on movies that aren't this one. And Noah, please tell all of our guests where they can find you or your work on the internet.
You can find me at I have a website, noahginex.com. I have an Instagram for my art, which is Art by Noah Ginex. I have an Instagram for my puppet company, which is Noah Ginex Puppet Co. And I have a TeePublic shop, which is linked from my artist Instagram. So you can buy all sorts of strange Muppet mashup. And I think there's a Calvin and Hobbes / Audrey 2 design on there.
You got that great one with the Muppet Golden Girls.
That one
Sam Neill as Dorothy.
is putting my kids through college. That I get so many emails from TeePublic about that one selling that I stopped paying attention to them.
Wow.
That makes sense because it rules.
Man, people love Muppets and people love the Golden Girls. So you
I love it. I'll take all of it
right there. The magic formula.
It was a friend of mine. My friend Heather suggested you should do Muppets and Golden Girls, and I said okay, because I was doing a drawing a day every day of the year, and you both have been a victim to this, where I just message you, out of the blue and say, I need an idea for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love when you do that, because then I'll always be like, yeah, man, Digit, Lindbergh, give me that Jim Henson.
And then there is the drawing.
There it is. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just thought about Digit yesterday because somebody showed me a Muppet Star Trek thing, and I was like, well, Digit has to be Data.
Oh yeah.
Digit
anyway.
is kind of Data. He's like a mix of Data, Reverend Jim,
yeah,
Kramer, even though Seinfeld
there.
wasn't out yet.
Oh, it's very close though. But yeah, no, you're right. Huh. So yeah, go look at all those things, everyone. Follow all of those things, and also please give us positive reviews and positive ratings online. And please tell everyone about this podcast, and join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. We'll see you then.
The goose.